Welcome to week 5. We're going to be talking about making content convert. So once you have traffic into your site, trying to get that traffic converted into email subscribers or leads or whatever that end goal is for you. So we're going to talk about how to make that happen. And the agenda today, we're going to go over why conversion matters and how to define your goal around conversion. We're going to go through lead magnets, kind of what they are, types of lead magnets that you can be using, lead magnet relevancy and how to make sure that it's relevant to the content you're creating, relevant to your audience, as well as, just how big or how crazy you have to get with lead magnets. Then I'm going to walk you through a really simple 4-step process to create your lead magnet, your very first lead magnet, in less than 30 minutes. In fact, this process should actually take less than 10 minutes if you're really good and you really know your stuff. Then we're going to go through some lead capture methods. I'm going to show you some of the different methods that you can use to capture leads and then bring them into a sales process or bring them into whatever email process you want to bring them through. And then finally, we're going to go through some tools and resources to help you do all of this. So first things first, defining your goals. So having just traffic coming through your website without any leads and any particular conversion goal is a little bit of a waste of a marketing resource. If you're just driving traffic, you don't really have much of an end goal there. Even blog or even content sites where they monetize their site through AdSense, even they technically have a goal. Their goal is to drive tons of traffic, and by leveraging that traffic, they're going to be generating ad revenue. In your case, you just need to look at, what is your end goal, and then what is the conversion goal when you work backwards. And easy way to do it is, really to be most effective here, you have to look at what that end goal is. Maybe it's, the example here, selling content marketing service packages. If you wanted to take this exact, formula that I'm teaching you and sell that to clients, that's your end goal. Now you have to work backwards with, okay, well, what steps do I need to take to hit that point? And with content marketing, your key conversion goal is going to be building an email list of folks who have an interest in content marketing or have an interest in SEO, or at least understand the benefits of it and understand that there's an ROI potential there, because you're going to want to bring them in there. Then you're going to want to, go through the process of explaining to them, hey, we actually do sell content marketing. Here's how it works. Introduce them to clients and maybe through a case study, and then finally get them on the phone and sell them. So you just need to work backwards with what that end goal is, what your key goal with content marketing is, and then how to actually make that happen. And that's the easiest way to define goals in this sense. Now, lead magnets are a way to help you get there. Lead magnets are typically what's used to turn the traffic that you're getting into leads and email addresses. So lead magnets are pretty much any type of media, can be a whole different slew of types of media, and they're used to convert that traffic into that conversion goal that you're after, whether it's a lead, whether it's an email subscriber, whatever the case. So there's 2 articles that I linked here. One is written, we wrote about 15 types of lead magnets that you can use. There's awesome things in there as well as examples. So a few of those that are listed in there around like giveaways, contact forms, chat boxes, content upgrades. I'm going to explain what that is in a second. Guides, checklists, a whole bunch of different things. And then another one put together by Opt-in Monster, which is one of the tools we recommend for helping you convert traffic into leads. They made a massive post, 69 different types of lead magnets. So I'll let you kind of dive into those later on. But here's some examples of what a lead magnet could look like. So this is the Easy Automated Sales site. And when you load up the blog, you're going to see this little sidebar banner right here, as well as this chat box over here. There's also something that shows up, when you go and you move your mouse out of the browser. It's something for exit intent. But I want to talk about these two. So these are pretty straightforward. This is a mini course that I'm offering. That is one of my lead magnets to qualify, hey, you came to our site. We have a lot of stuff about marketing, growth hacking, mobile app development, all this stuff. But are you interested in content marketing? If so, they're going to click through here. And they're also going to pre-qualify themselves. I am a tech startup or startup founder, and I'm an entrepreneur. They're going to qualify themselves, go into the mini course, and consume content there, at which point, I have a segment of folks that I know are interested in content marketing, interested in SEO. They are probably tech startup founders or tech startup employees or entrepreneurs. So an easy way to kind of help me qualify folks there. But that's one type of lead magnet, is a mini course. The other type of lead magnet we have here, which may not quite seem like a lead magnet, but in reality it is this little Drift chat box. So the reason why I said, most people see chat boxes everywhere. It doesn't really sound like much of a lead magnet. It's something that annoys you when you hit a website. But they are people are getting value by clicking on that box, asking me questions, and getting answers. So I'm still delivering value in the way a lead magnet does, but it's much lower barrier. And in this case, the way that we capture leads is that someone will ask a question here, and if I don't respond right away, it's going to say, hey, enter your name and email address, and someone will get back to you in the next couple hours or however long it takes. But that way we're able to capture them as a lead. We usually answer their question, and the last thing I ask them is, hey, do you want to get added to our newsletter? And that way you can get really awesome content updates every time we update content. And 99% of the time they say yeah. Very, very few people just say no. But that's one of our lead magnets there. Example on a site that might be a little bit more familiar, HubSpot. So HubSpot has a lot of different lead magnets on every single page. So this is an article about Excel keyboard shortcuts. So at the top of the article here, and I kind of had to layer these on top of each other because their articles are quite long. But basically, you land on an article page. This pop-up shows up almost immediately after you start scrolling, and pop-up says, hey, join 300,000 fellow marketers and get really awesome marketing tips from us. You click subscribe and you enter in your email address and go from there. Or you can click subscribe up here at the top. There's a static link that appears in the image. Or you can click get started. Get started will take you over to HubSpot, the actual software, and it'll show you, I think it goes right to the pricing page, and that way you can kind of look at signing into HubSpot. But if you scroll all the way down on that article, there's also a few lead magnets that show up at the bottom. You have a banner over here, get the content upgrade, and this is an example of a content upgrade. Is this article is about Excel shortcuts. This guide is all about learning Excel functions and the how-to step-by-step guide to using these Excel functions. So they take one piece of content that they've already created and they've upgraded it into content that should be much more relevant and very distinct to the folks that are reading this article. The other one they have another one of these newsletter signups, and finally this little pop-up that shows up in the bottom right that scrolls with you, same offer of the guide. So they're using 6 different lead magnets on this one article. The subscribe to newsletter ones and the get started is kind of the evergreen lead magnet. It's not directly applicable to any particular article. And then they have a content upgrade that's directly applicable to an article. So, I mentioned there they have the Excel content upgrade, and then they have the Excel article. So there's a lot of relevancy there, but not every lead magnet has to be that relevant. This kind of scope that you want to look at is the lead magnet should at least be relevant to the topic of your website. So with HubSpot, you'll notice they have a way to get into their newsletter. That's pretty relevant. If you like the content that they create, you'll sign up for that. Similarly, they have a sign up button to get started. So if you're interested in HubSpot itself, which is all about content marketing, then you're going to click on that. And then they have the much more in-depth relevant lead magnets, which are those content upgrades. So you just want to make sure that your lead magnet is at least relevant to the topic of your website. So for example, we have a sales funnel agency. One of our lead magnets, which I didn't get to show you there because I couldn't quite take a screenshot of it, is get our 9 best sales funnels. It's a PDF that just has links to swipe our 9 best sales funnels, so you can customize them and publish them. So it's directly applicable to someone who'd come to our site looking for a sales funnel. Now, these lead magnets don't have to be massive or time intense. They just have to deliver some type of value. And here's 2 great examples of what I mean by this. So the chat box example that I showed you for Easy Automated Sales, there's no barrier there. I mean, we don't really take a lot of time to get that set up. There's no massive work to get that set up. And it's a very simple exchange of value. Someone is able to ask me a question and they get answers from me. There's obviously time invested in me answering those questions. But if you already have a support team, that's a perfect lead magnet for you. That's super low barrier. Now, on the other hand, HubSpot created an Excel guide. And that guide is a step-by-step of tutorials to better use Excel. Now, that's obviously a lot more time intensive to put together, but when you actually download it and look at it, it's not really long form. It's a handful of pages walking through some key things that you need to know how to do. So again, it maybe took a couple hours total to put together. And that's kind of, again, HubSpot has a big team of content folks. That is more of an extreme version of a content upgrade. And what I'm going to show you in just a second are two really simple versions of the content upgrade that allow you to be very relevant while only really taking about 20-30 minutes of time. The lead magnet that I'm going to show you how to create in less than 30 minutes is a content upgrade. And you can do it in less than 30 minutes without a whole lot of experience on how to do it. You can do it even faster once you know how to do it the first time around. So creating your first lead magnet is a simple 4-step process. Take an article that you have, turn it into a PDF, and you can do that, as simply by just pressing, Command Print and save it as a PDF, or using a tool like Beaconly, which directly integrates to WordPress, allows you to create really nicely designed PDF versions of your articles. And it's really like, open Beaconly, select your article, click Create PDF, done. It's that simple. But you just want to turn it into a PDF, and before you actually export it there, add a couple paragraphs of pure value. Now this step is completely optional. You don't have to add extra content. You can simply just turn it into a PDF. But once you've done that, you export it as your PDF, that's a content upgrade. Really plain and simple. It really is that easy. So 2 examples of both of those different lead magnets both of these different types of content upgrades used, one with extra content, one without. Backlinko, Brian Dean, phenomenal guy in the SEO space, very technical around link building and things like that. But here's 2 examples of his articles. So this one is a case study article talking about how to use content upgrades and how it boosts conversions. And you can see his content upgrade here. It's a checklist of the content that's here, but in reality what he did is he kind of went through, took the action steps that he gives you at the end, popped it into a PDF. That's your guide. So he actually took a section of the article, cleaned it up a little bit, and made it a content upgrade. You can do something similar with Beaconly quite easily because it has a lot of those templates. So he just put it in here as a content upgrade. You can click the download button. It'll ask you for your email, and then it'll send you over there. The other example where he did actually add extra content, so he has this skyscraper article about untapped backlink sources, and there's a checklist that he gives you with 2 bonus strategies that you can't find in this post. So you have to give him your information before he's going to give you the 2 strategies that he's held back. This is an example of, the properly formatted content upgrade that you're going to spend a little bit of time creating, but has a really awesome effect. So if you do create content, you're only going to create content on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, I highly recommend adding a little bit of extra content and making your content upgrades really, really solid like this. But if you're going to be creating lots of content because you want to really, drive it home, just PDF your content, make it look a little bit nicer, maybe even just take sections of your content that's actionable, and that's all you really have to do. Link it up in here, and I'm going to show you, or I'm going to explain to you one of the tools that'll help you do this really easily. And if you guys really want to learn how to do this, let me know, and I can show you the technical versus non-technical way in a video of how to set these up. So next thing is lead capture method. So just like this content upgrade over here, this is a lead capture method. They click the link and you get prompted to enter in your email address. There's a whole bunch of different ways to capture leads, but we're going to talk about 6 core ones that are easy to implement. So the ones where you can install one software into your site and implement any one of these 6 in a matter of clicks. Each of them definitely has their own merit based on your market as well as based on just the way that it's displayed and just how intrusive it is to a visitor to your website. But the key thing that I want you to kind of take away here is leveraging more than one lead capture method is inevitably required to get the best effect. So you saw Brian Dean here. You only see one because I only screenshotted the top bit, but he also has 3 other types of content upgrades on his site as you're reading through this article. Similarly, back to HubSpot here, they have 6, even though these are really two of the same things. but the couple of different ones they have here is they have a pop-up, they have a couple of static ones, then they have the content upgrade. So they have 3 real ones that are kind of sticking out here. And on our site, we have these 2, plus we have the one that shows up when you go to the site and when you show intent to exit and leave the site. So let me walk you through those right now. So first we have newsletter boxes. So newsletter boxes, exactly like the HubSpot example that I showed you there, they appear at the bottom of usually at the bottom of the article, sometimes at the top or sometimes in the middle. They don't tend to have much of a strong call to action because they're applicable across the entire site. So in this case, HubSpot's subscribe to HubSpot's blog, just get updates about new content. It's not a very strong call to action. I mean, if you're a new visitor to HubSpot, you may not be enticed by this. Even if you're a recurring visitor, like I go there all the time, I'm not really enticed to subscribe through this because it gives me no value. As a result of that, the conversion rate shows it. It's usually less than a 1% conversion rate. It's kind of just there if you know you already have tons and tons of traffic. This is a good way to capture a little bit more without having to worry too much about the difference between 1 or 2% more. Incentive newsletter boxes, kind of the same thing as just above, but instead with an incentive. Typically, these show up on the sidebar, so on the right-hand or left-hand side of an article or on the right-hand side of a website. If you go to any news magazine type site, usually there's a sidebar there with different articles you can click over to. And sometimes there's also one of these incentive things that just says, hey, get this guide or get this whatever. It's very often used on sites like Wired and things, blogs that have an actual magazine or a physical something attached to it. Usually you can get like a PDF version or you can get subscribed with a discount, and they usually have those in the sidebar. Because it usually is a lot more attractive, you're actually delivering some value or making some type of offer. You tend to get a plus 1% conversion rate. It doesn't stray too far beyond that, depending on just how amazing your offer is. If someone's going to be giving away a $10,000 product, you're going to get a really high click-through rate. But if you're just, you're giving away a PDF guide or something, maybe 1 to 2% on the high end. The pop-up opt-in. So this is going to show up, you're scrolling through an article, you're scrolling through a site, it just pops up, kind of blanks out the screen behind it and makes an offer. In this case, this is, if you like this article that you were reading, click here to get some extra free stuff. Typically, because of the intrusive nature of it, you're having something pop up in front of your users. It has a higher click-through rate, conversion rate, but it only really works if you're delivering value. These can't be used to just say, hey, subscribe to our newsletter. The conversion rate is awful if you do that. You have to deliver some type of value. If you go on Nathan Lotka's site, his podcast site, they actually do a pretty good job of this. Their pop-up opt-in is for their Google Doc of all the different founder data, the folks that he's talked to on his podcast. He has like revenue data and everything about those guys. It's actually a really strong offer for those in that particular market. And as a result of that, he has about a 12-13% opt-in rate with his pop-up opt-in. But again, like that's a lot of really awesome data. He's really over-delivering there. Whereas, in most cases, you usually get some type of PDF or some type of mini guide or something as a result of this. So it usually carries about a 3 to 5% opt-in rate. So just depending on your value, you can increase this beyond, but 3% is probably what you're going to see off the bat if you have, a halfway decent offer. The header opt-in, this one's obviously not quite at the head bar of the site, but they appear at the bottom or at the top of the site. They tend to be scrolling. So on this site, you'll get this, and then as you scroll, it'll scroll with you. Sometimes it's at the top here, and as you scroll, it'll scroll with you. Usually it's some type of offer of tips or a newsletter or something very tiny. It's a micro opt-in. It's something that, again, goes across the entire website and usually offers something of small amount of value, not anything really massive. And as a result of that, about a 1 to 2% conversion rate on average, depending on just how much you let it stand out. There's an entire software company that just offers this type of opt-in bar. They do offer others now, but they used to just offer this called HelloBar, created by Neil Patel. It's a great software. It's free for almost like ever. Like they don't really cap it very well, so you can get it for free, and it does a pretty good job because it's nice and orange and it really displays and shows out across the site. But again, not the greatest opt-in, so I wouldn't use it in most cases. I'd try and stick with something that's a little bit more intrusive, and then one or two things that are a little bit more passive, just because it can mess up a lot of things on your site. Like if you have a chat box or something, this will inevitably mess up the chat box. Content upgrades. So we talked quite a bit about this. Content upgrades, on average, not an amazingly spectacular conversion rate, but if you look at organic traffic specifically that lands on a particular page that has a content upgrade, the conversion rate's obviously significantly higher. So it's about 2% to 3 or 4% on average. But when you look at on a page-by-page basis, organic traffic that hits it or traffic that specifically lands on that page, your conversion rate could be upwards of 10%, as long as it's really, really relevant and you are delivering some value. So if you look at the one that offers a checklist, or you look at you look at offering some bonus content, you're going to inevitably get a really high conversion rate, which is always awesome. So the welcome mat, this is one of the old ones that we used. We used to offer this growth hacking weekly newsletter, and it was 60 some emails long, just deliver a growth hack a week that you can implement. We had a 6% conversion rate. It was about a 6-7% conversion rate at that time. But this is called a welcome mat, and what it does, it physically takes over the entire screen and makes some type of offer. And the only way to close it is there's either a X in the top right here that's usually really small, or they have to click no, or they opt in. One of those three. It is extremely intrusive. I only use this now as an exit intent. So if they show intent to actually exit the website, I'll display this as a one-time last ditch offer. But in the case when we were using it at this point, it was initially when you load the site. We used to load this. We took it out because for mobile, it's really not super friendly. So use this sparingly, but the conversion rate on it, because it is so intrusive, is so high. I've seen some that average about 20-25% conversion. So really depends on just what your traffic is, what your offer is. But if you really need to convert folks into leads and you really want to make that conversion work, and you don't care a whole lot about pissing some people off, go with a welcome mat. It really does work. So let me walk you through our example. So we have a couple different things I mentioned there. We have an exit intent pop-up, which is the welcome mat. And then we actually do have sorry, you know what? I added this in. This shouldn't be there. Sorry, the exit intent pop-up shouldn't be there. So the welcome mat is the one that we have. We don't have the exit intent. So this is actually about 4% less, about 11% on average. But basically we have the welcome mat there. The welcome mat is that it's just like this. It says, hey, grab our 9 best sales funnels and just enter your email address here. We'll send them to you by email. Then we have a sidebar opt-in, which is the content marketing mini course. Then we have the Drift chat box, which doesn't have an amazing conversion rate, but again, that's because it's a pretty general message. It's, hey, how can I help you? But these are obviously very direct to sales leads. Out of I think we had 25 or so folks contact us through this in December. Out of those, we closed 4 into sales. So it's much more direct, much more direct. So the overall conversion rate here, it's about 11 and a little bit %, which means on average, get about 100 and some emails per every 1,000 unique visitors that hit the site. Now this percentage conversion fluctuates based on traffic. When it comes from organic, and if I only isolated organic here, the conversion rate across the board is significantly higher because those people are searching for content and they're actively in the phase of trying to get as much content as they can. So as long as your opt-ins here offer content and offer new stuff that they can consume, they will opt in and they will keep taking and taking and taking and taking as much as they can. So the conversion rate here, if I look at organic, is typically about 50 to 60% higher on average. But now that we got through all this stuff, some tools and resources to help you out here. Opt-in Monster is the tool that we use to do all the things like welcome mats, as well as kind of everything else related to generate or to having people opt into stuff on our site. It plugs into WordPress. It also plugs in natively to any type of HTML site or anything. So you can use it across everything. It's quite cheap. I believe we pay $150 a year on average. something like that. And we only do that because we wanted exit intent and all this other stuff. If you get the very bare bones of it, I think it's $8 a month or something. It's very, very cheap. It's a great tool. Highly recommend it. You can also do opt-ins through other means. There are other ways to do this. So if you really want another way, get in touch with me. Ask. I'll help you figure something out. Design Pickle. If you really want to get crazy with your designs, like you want to get some really amazingly designed checklists and things, I recommend Design Pickle. I believe it's $300 a month, and there are quite a few coupons out there to help you get it for about $250 a month. And it's essentially design on demand. They don't do really copy heavy stuff, so they won't take like your 20-page article and turn that into a lead magnet, but they will take a section of it that's 2 or 3 pages and turn it into a checklist. And that's what we were using them for when we were using Design Pickle, was for all our checklists. We're using them now for some of the stuff related to this course and helping us spruce it up. But it's a phenomenal service if you really need a designer and you don't want to hire a full designer internally. It's a great alternative. And if you need something that is more intense, you do want someone who can do a 15-page lead magnet, get in touch with me. I do have a resource that's exactly like Design Pickle. It's about 50-60% more expensive, but they do any size project. So they'll do like a landing page design for you if you want. They're great guys. Another tool that we use, that I mentioned already, beacon.by, turns articles and ebooks in minutes. It's phenomenal, like a matter of a couple clicks and you can have an article ready to go, an ebook ready to go based on your article. Highly recommend it. I think there's still an AppSumo deal for it somewhere out there. And I think it works out to like $40 for a lifetime. But even if you buy it, I think the one-time fee is about $60-$70. So it's totally worth buying. If you need another recommendation because you don't want to use Beacon, there's a few others out there. Get in touch with me. I'll help you sort it out. One of the other options for that particular service, turning articles into ebooks, is Fiverr. Fiverr has tons and tons of gigs to cover almost anything related to lead magnets. They even have gigs to create your own lead magnets. They'll do everything for you, infographics and all. So really, if you need something and you just want it done quickly, Fiverr is a good way to go. And you'll spend anywhere from $5 to $100 to get something done, so it's not super expensive. But if there's anything in here that you need help with that I may not have mentioned here with regards to resources or tools or how-to implementations, let me know. Especially if it's how-to implementations, I'll create the videos for it so you have a step-by-step guide. And if it's the resources, let me know. I'll add it into the link right under the video. Other than that, I just have a couple action items for you. So define your conversion and end goals. I really want you to have a good sense of exactly what your end goals are with the content marketing, with the traffic that you generate. I want you to really have a good understanding of where you want that stuff to go, how you're going to convert them, and how that end goal is going to work. And then to look at any of your existing content that you have, try doing a content upgrade. Even if you only have one blog, it's 500 words, that's fine. Try and create some type of content upgrade for it, and you'll see the effects almost immediately, especially if you already have some traffic that's going to it. And number 3, get your conversion plan in place because, as I mentioned, January 19th is my really big goal for us to kind of go through and start doing content promotion. By that point, you should have at least one article ready. Doesn't matter whether it's perfect or complete or whatever. Just have something ready that we can use to promote, because I do want to get you guys some traffic going, and with the conversion plan in place, I want to get you guys getting some leads, getting some potential sales. It really does work that quickly, so I do want to get everybody up and running at the same time. Even if you don't have an amazing amount of time, just take an old article, take like an hour to go through and optimize it a little bit with regards to conversion and with regards to having a content upgrade. And then, next week we're going to talk about content promotion. We're going to get it all up and running. Thanks for taking the time. Again, let me know if you have any questions, you have any requests with regards to resources, anything like that.